What just happened?
It was showing on my side it was working, and then it just stopped.
Welcome to Still Doing Happy Hour. Hey,
Welcome to episode 125 of the Still Drippin' Happy Hour. This is your host, Mason. On the move tonight, we got Hayes Holla.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, last minute. We got LTLP is lit. What's up, Landon?
What's up? What's up, Cole?
What's
I want-
up?
I want Landon and Hayes to go back and forth on our introduction. Maybe like you guys can do a line at a time or something.
Quick question: do you want us to call you your rap name or your government name?
You can call me whatever you want to call me. I really don't care. I'm not like one of those people who's like this fake name that I have created for myself. You must call me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
All right, that's cool. I'll just go with what's in my heart, and right now it's Agent Paco.
Hey, Agent Paco is here. Yeah.
So, Landon, tell us a little about Agent Paco. Give us a proper introduction.
Sheesh. So we don't usually go an hour, right, for these podcasts. I'm going to need to make it about a 2 hour for this introduction. I am honored to be in the presence of business mogul, fashion connoisseur, rap icon, and just like
International
of all those
superstar.
things, the thing that I am most proud of is that I call him my friend, and
wow.
he's a guy I look up to, and he's just changing the game in Nashville. So, Agent Paco, Hayes, what you got to add to that?
What I'll add is super humble, great guy who knows his brand and his audience, and he is pure himself and not trying to be anybody else. And that gets a huge amount of respect for me. That's what I'll add.
Very nice.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, guys. I love both equally. You know, one was definitely not better than the other at all. Both very equally amazing things that really touch my heart. So thank you.
I don't know where we start with a conversation like this. So maybe we can. I feel like I'm more in tune with the rap side, and Landon's kind of a mix of both. And so where do we even start? Like, you're from Lebanon, Tennessee.
Lebanon, Tennessee. Not very well known. Actually, I'll go a step further. I'm not even from Lebanon, Tennessee. I'm from Possumtown, Tennessee, which is right outside of Lebanon, Tennessee, on the outskirts. You know, I'm just a little, boy trying to make it in the big city, just a country boy, Possumtown, Tennessee. That's
Dude, no crap. My in-laws live in Possumtown right now.
Possumtown, Tennessee. My
little
parents
country
still
store?
live in Possumtown. Oh yeah, King's
Is there
Old
really?
Country Store.
King's Old Country Store. There's the water plant that smells like
knows King's Old Country Store.
that water plant right there. It smells like poop every time you drive by. Like,
hey, to put this into context to our listeners, this man went from Possumtown, Tennessee, to whipping Porsches. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
So Possumtown, Tennessee, like, what came first, the rap stuff or because we know the fashion and the rap, it goes hand in hand. Like basketball and rap goes hand in hand. Like, how did this all happen?
I mean, for me, I want to say it was fashion first. Like, I think really what inspired me, I mean, listen, like my high school experience was very much like I grew up on ringtone rap era, so like rap music was like what I predominantly listened to throughout pretty much my entire life. I remember literally the first ever rap song that I can remember like really hearing and like listening to was Crank That Soulja Boy, just because that was on a dude's like ringtone on their like flip phone. And he was like, oh, you got to listen to this. This is my ringtone. And it was Crank That Soulja Boy. And I was like, my mind was blown. This was like when I was in middle school or like even like late elementary school. And like, I had to like listen to Soulja Boy, and like I would go on LimeWire and like illegally download all the music to put on the
How many
iPod
computers did you
Shuffle.
kill? How many of
Yeah.
your family's computers did you kill with
Seriously,
LimeWire?
yeah, I honestly probably did download a lot of viruses onto the family computer. And that was funny too. Like it was the family computer. Like it's not like I had a computer, like it was like there was the one computer in the house, and that was like the family computer. And I was just ripping Shop Boys, Soulja Boy, like all these like artists like off of LimeWire. So
you
was,
weren't
like,
into rap at all before that? Like you just jumped straight into
no,
pop
my parents are
mainstream.
very much 80s rock music is like my family. So like I grew up listening to 96.3 Jack FM. If you're in Nashville, you know what that is. And like that's like what I grew up listening to was like Def Leppard, Ozzy Osbourne, like that type of stuff. So like going into myself and what I actually like to listen to, you know, when I'm not around my family, it really was pretty much just rap music. And so that obviously, like you said, hey, is like that and fashion is just so hand in hand. So it's like you start picking up on the fashion stuff when you're watching the music videos and like stuff like that. So I think like in high school is when it all kind of clicked for me. And I was like, man, like the rap music is cool, but like what I really like and like what I'm really care about is like how like, you know, early Kanye is like dressing with like the pink polos and stuff, and how like Pharrell is like dressing and like, oh, he's doing stuff with Louis Vuitton. That's like such a sick like brand, and like learning about all these like brands that was so incorporated with the rap music, I think is like what probably made me into obviously the person that I guess I am today, you know? So
that's awesome. We all have a similar story. Mine just starts 20 years earlier, right?
Yeah.
I'm the oldest person.
Hayes starts with the birth of rap. That's when he first heard it.
When they were singing like nursery rhymes, like skip to my loo and hit the zoo.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Grandmaster
exactly right.
Flash and
actually
So Cole,
the first rap song I remember was playing. So my house growing up, this has been well documented on here, but was my dad was a youth minister. And so my house was the house that all the neighborhood kids would want to be at in Antioch. And so we'd have him over. I had a basketball goal. And so everybody wanted to be at my house because it was safe. And my parents were cool, and they'd let them play their music. And like the very first rap song that I can recall, and I don't even know what year this would have been. It's probably 88 is There's Too Much Booty in the Pants. And I think that is Two Live Crew, which there's no way my parents knew like the words to it. But I remember like playing basketball. People were wearing Jordan 4 breads like in my backyard on the pavement. So that was probably 89, 88, somewhere in there.
Mason, what was your first rap song?
I have no idea. It was probably middle school that I would remember. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look up that era and see it. 2004-ish, 5-ish, something like that.
That's quality.
So, had to be Kanye
That's
or
not quality.
2004 was prime rap music. Like take me back to 04. Like
the first I would say the first
Chris,
album that I remember is, I mean, this is later, but like when I was like, oh, this whole album is super dope, was the 808s and Heartbreak.
Okay.
That was like
2008. Yeah.
No, that was like
But like before that, it was just like
though was, I mean, you gotta
the
hear
chain.
it. Like that's a year. Like the towers had fallen. Like the city was alive. Like we don't really know. Like what was there's some in the air. I don't know.
But yeah, like Cole was saying earlier, it's like when I first picked up on it, it was just like, oh, I'm just only going to download 3 songs from LimeWire. I'm not going to download a whole album. Like who would do that off LimeWire?
Yeah,
That's too much.
You guys don't have any clue what it was like having to buy a whole freaking album
exactly
for one song. I did this over and over. Lean Back Joe, Fat Joe. That was 2000.
Ooh.
Tipsy Jaquan. Oh, that's quality.
Man. Holiday Inn.
All Falls Down Kanye. Bring Him Out T.I. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. That was
good. It was a good year.
No, it wasn't. It was
I was 7. to put that in perspective. So
Yes.
I was 7 in 2004. Yeah.
I was 24 and I think I already had a kid. Anyway, let's move on. So Lebanon taught you the ropes.
Taught me taught me a lot, I guess.
What did it teach you about fashion? Like, how did? Because I mean, I can imagine. I'm a Nashville native. I think all of us are Middle Tennessee
Yeah.
native. So, I mean, I know enough to know in 2000. What year was this? This is 2004.
When I was getting into like rap music and like, I mean, that it probably started, I would say like high school, like 9th grade, let's say. So like, I mean, in high school, 2000.
This was
Maybe that was
2015.
2000. No. It was probably like 2011, 2012. Yeah.
So here's what I know. Like nobody was wearing Supreme in Lebanon, Tennessee. Nobody was wearing
Nah.
Alice or none of that existed. So like, how did that all happen? You were rocking Vineyard Vines and
I really
Hollister.
was. No, don't joke about that because
I'm not. I'm being serious.
What?
There's
I'm not joking.
pictures- like the pictures of me that I have from like, my past life, if you will, is very Vineyard Vines, very like my closet. There's a picture of my closet in high school, and it was a pair of Sperry's, a pair of like gross flip flops, a pair of like Onitsuka Tigers. I always wore Onitsuka Tigers in high school, and then the Supreme like Air Force One highs that came out like 2013 or 2014. I like had those, and then like another pair of like Supreme. Like it was like all over the place. So like honestly,
Was this
like
eBay
I said,
cops? I mean, at that point, it had to be eBay or somewhere.
yeah, it was off of Reddit. That's like what got me into like fashion as a whole. Is like 2011, 2012. You got to think back in that era. That's when Odd Future blew up, and so Odd Future is what got Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, like Frank Ocean, like those people like got me into fashion because like they were rocking Supreme in every music video, and like I thought it was the coolest thing. I would be on eBay and like on like Reddit, like scouring, trying to buy these like Supreme pieces. When you're right, nobody in the world, like in Lebanon, Tennessee, knew what Supreme was, had any idea. And I was like trying to pay at that time. I mean, you could get stuff from Supreme for retail because nobody really cared, like it wasn't crazy. So, I mean, I was trying to get all this stuff, $150 on like a Supreme hoodie was still like a lot, to me as a kid. So I would be like asking my parents, like, I have this thing on eBay. Like, I need the money. Like, can we please get this? And they'd be like, no. And I'd be like, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It just kind of like, I was the only one in my school that knew what Supreme was. And I would mix that with the Vineyard Vines. I mean, I'd be wearing khaki shorts from Ralph Lauren and then the Supreme t-shirt, that was the vibe.
That's so sick. You got to start someplace. Humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Well, so talk about your first job, because once you get that paycheck, then you got better access.
Yeah,
So
that's when I started. I mean, when I turned 16, Chick-fil-A was like my first like real job. And so like for, all of high school, when I could get a job, I worked at Chick-fil-A.
The
And
one
that,
off
like-
of the exit, the Lebanon exit, the close to the Nike outlet, or rest in peace. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so that Chick-fil-A, 2.5 years there. It was cool, making like $7.25 an hour minimum wage. So like I was grinding out there. But like that's what got me into everything, honestly. Like I owe Chick-fil-A like really my entire like, let's call it a career, but nothing crazy. But like, I don't know. That's what really got me into like not just fashion, but the rapping part of things as well, because they were playing rap music in the back of the Chick-fil-A. They were playing like Travis Scott and Future and like all these like rappers like Childish Gambino, like in the Chick-fil-A,
right? That was
nothing like early Travis Scott, that type of stuff, mixtape stuff, and so like that got me really into rap music, like really like into like that, and so I would be rapping along with the music, like in Chick-fil-A, like on the shift, and some of my coworkers and stuff would be like rapping with me too, and they'd be like, "Bro, you need to drop some music, like you actually can like kind of flow a little bit, like you need to like write a song," and so I literally like. That summer, like at Chick-fil-A, like I guess I was 17 at that point, I wrote the first like EP and released it, had a listening party at my house in Lebanon and like invited all my friends in my backyard. And like, yeah, it was cool. But that's like what started it all was Chick-fil-A. So yeah.
Is that mixtape? I've never heard of this mixtape. Where can I find it?
No, nowhere. I got rid of that
bro, I gotta
early.
find it.
No, I had that up for about a year on like SoundCloud, and then I took it off. I made physical CDs and gave them out at the party, at the listening party.
Wow.
So there are 40 Agent Paco mixtapes out there in the wild. I have one, so there are 39 just in society.
In
And
society.
I'm
that's
calling
it.
eBay right now.
That's the relic of the past, is the Agent Paco. It was called From Protege to Prodigy was
Nice.
what the name of the mixtape was. Agent Paco, you know what I'm saying? So it was
All right. So then I've heard, I think you've told me this story where a girl in high school came up with your rap name and that's how this happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly probably earlier than that. It was probably like middle school, and it really was like a joke. I did theater, right, like in high school, so that was like my thing. Theater and bowling. I was a cool guy back then, doing theater and bowling, and so in the theater, like this one girl like was giving out nicknames to people, and I just remember like her calling me Paco, and I honestly have no idea why because I don't look like a Paco, like I don't know, kind of weird, but I just remember her giving me that nickname, seriously. And like, nobody really called me that. I guess people did like maybe like once. I don't even know. But like, this was around the time in middle school where I wasn't allowed to have even a cell phone until I turned 13. Like on my 13th birthday, I got a phone. And so I was so excited. I was like, I get to make like a Twitter. I get to make like an Instagram. Like this is like the first days of Instagram, right? And so like, I'm picking my handle and like my Facebook handle or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be Paco. I should be Agent Paco. That would be sick. And like, I just thought that was like so cool, even though it's like not. But yeah, and that started Agent Paco. Cool. And then I've just never kind of stopped, I just kind of stuck. I don't really know how, but yeah.
There's somebody that I don't think listens to this podcast, but did something similar with a name that I had. It was a fantasy football name from probably that era, 2000, maybe it was earlier. And it was Firekill because I thought, man, how intimidating that is when you can see that you got beat by Firekill. Firekill. And then my brother-in-law stole that and made that his Facebook and Instagram handle for a long time. Firekill.
That's kind of messed up.
I made him buy it. Well, it was even more messed up. I had to buy it back from him. He was like, "You want to use it? You're gonna have to buy it." It was like $50.
Oh
I'm kidding.
Man,
that's not.
But imagine if somebody would have taken Agent Paco. Maybe I would have been like Cole Killa. You know what I mean? Maybe that was gonna be like my rap name. Like we don't know. Like
or Possum Town Paco.
Possum Town Paco is crazy. That's got to be the whitest name that I've ever heard. Like, that is crazy.
Possum Town Paco. So tell us about the next stage. So you got a job, you got some money in your pocket, you got your name. I got some money. What took you to the next stage? This is the drama. Okay, so some drama happened in my life. I'm not even.
This is what the fans came for.
I literally am not embellishing the story, which is like kind of crazy once you hear it. But so I wrote the rap music. I put out the like DVD or the CD of like my first mixtape, right? And I thought it was pretty good. Now the one thing that I will say about that first music was it was not the Agent Paco that people may listen to today. You know what I mean? Like it was like me trying to figure it out. Like, what am I going to do? It
was nursery rhymes, right?
Yeah. What do I sound like? No, but it was honestly like I said earlier, I was inspired by Odd Future. I was inspired by that era of like rap music. So like the stuff, I was trying to be hard in my like raps. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It wasn't like explicit or anything.
Were you selling drugs in your raps?
I mean, not even that, but I guess maybe like implying that and like stuff like that. Like I wasn't like, yeah, I'm in the car running drugs with the crew. Like it wasn't like that, but like
that was literally, I think, one of Hayes's freestyles like 2 weeks ago.
There you go. In the car running drugs with the crew. Yeah.
I'm always selling cocaine on my trunk.
But I was talking about, I don't know. I was talking about just like stupid stuff. It was stupid. Like it didn't make any sense. It just like I was like, oh, this is hard. Like like one of the songs was like, I got that chrome in my pocket. That was like the chorus, talking about like how I always kept a gun on me. And it's like, I've never shot a gun before.
You're from
in my
Possum
life.
Town, bro. You got a gun?
I literally have never shot
always
a gun
strapped
before.
up.
So it's like, that's just not real. Well, my parents found my notebook. My mother found my notebook filled with all my raps. and she freaked out, honestly. Like, she thought that I was like going down a dark path, and they freaked out. They didn't understand what Odd Future was. Like, it's funny thinking back, but in the moment it was like very like, I was like, it like ruined 2 years of my life, honestly. But like, she thought that I knew these people somehow. Like, she thought that I knew Tyler, the Creator, and Earl Sweatshirt, and was like, and we were friends. And like, they were like, these are your friends. Like, you know, you're a part of their like gang. And I'm like, no, they're a rap group. And she's like, no, but like, you're rapping like the stuff that they're rapping about. Like, y'all like know each other. And I was like, they live in Los Angeles. Like, they don't know Possum Town. Like, you don't have to worry, whatever. But they actually sent me to like Christian counseling, and like made me like, they took away like everything from me for like 6 months. They took away all the clothes that I had bought so far. So like, I bought a lot of the Odd Future like clothing brand and Supreme, and they like took it all away because they thought that I was like worshiping the devil, and like it was a whole thing. So it was.
Are they
it was
Church of
pretty
Christ?
crazy.
You're Church of Christ? Is that how you end up?
No, they're Methodists. So,
okay, got it. Well, that makes
but
even more
but
sense.
still Christian.
Very
But yeah, okay. but yeah,
very
so it was,
conservative though.
it
Extremely
was tough.
like
It was weird. It was a weird time, and like yeah, then like it just kind of like blew over, and it was kind of whatever. But like, again, like it was a pro and a con. The pro being like, I was buying all these clothes, and I was buying all these like Odd Future specific clothes. And then once they took it all away, and that kind of honestly made me look towards other clothes and made me fall in love with just like clothing as a whole, not just like, oh, this is like Odd Future. This is like, you know, Tyler, the Creator. It was more like, oh, like the Supreme and like Bape and like Louis Vuitton and like actual like brands that were like established like clothing brands. That's what really like pushed me to like go look at those brands. The con was, I was pissed for a long time, like at my family for like thinking that I worshiped the devil and like was in league with Odd Future to like bring back Satan or something. I don't know. But so that was pretty crazy. But that happened, you know, it like again forced me to do that. And then it also changed the way that I made music, because like then I was like, listen, like I don't curse in my music. That's just like a choice that I made because I don't think I need to. And so like I never did curse in my music ever. So like that didn't change. But the subject matter, I was like, okay, like I need to find a different style. Like I don't want to try and like be somebody else. Let me try and like figure out how to like be myself and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that was kind of like the evolution a little bit. But crazy couple years of my life, honestly. That was like junior and senior year of high school. So
let me I got two things, a statement and then a question, because I would bet you everybody has had a similar scenario. Mine was so this was early 90s, right? So it was tapes. It was before CDs. Okay. I'm old. And I'd stashed all my explicit lyric album covers in this little box, and I hid it like in between all these books in my room. And my mom and my dad found it, and they sat me down and made me listen to 3 6 Mafia, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. Like they made me listen to it with them, and then we destroyed all of that music.
Oh no!
I didn't have to go to counseling.
That is literally so. Yeah, that is so similar.
Like that's the South.
Like,
that's the South.
Lyrics, like a whole thing. Yeah,
it's the Christian conservative South. Is if you listen to that, then you're probably a devil worshiper. You're going to end up a drug dealer and in jail, right? That's what that is. I'm just 20 years ahead of you.
I turned myself in. Well, I did not knowing it. On the way to Gatlinburg, Tennessee for a fall break trip, I asked my parents to stop at Target because it was the day that 808 Heartbreak came out. And I was like, guys, let's listen to this on the way to Gatlinburg. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Y'all know how
that's kind of crazy too, though, because in the grand scheme, the only thing that I think my story makes a little more sense than that story is just because 808s is like a pretty sad, somber album.
Breakup
like,
music.
Yeah, there's like bad things in it, I guess, but like I can't even remember off the top of my head one like obscene thing that he says in that album. But like in terms of Odd Future, like I get why my parents were like,
that
whoa,
yeah,
raping
yeah,
women
yeah,
and like
yeah.
burning children. Like what? Because like that, yeah, that's like crazy. But again, like, does that translate to me, like you said, becoming a drug dealer, like doing any of that myself? It's like, guys, I work at Chick-fil-A. I go to like a private school. Like, I'm not out here like killing people on the weekends. Like, let's like put it in perspective. You
But
know what
that
I
is
mean?
the
But,
Christian conservative South. The
yeah.
story that I bet you millions of other kids just like you and me have. I guarantee it.
But it inspired me. It inspired me. And I even, my senior paper, like we had to write a senior, like almost like a thesis for our English class, senior year of high school. And I wrote it about that experience as like a satire. It was like a comedy and got a 100 and like had to read it aloud in the class and everybody was dying laughing. And that was a great memory. So, I mean, I
Do you have
tried
that
something out of it.
paper?
I think I do probably. It was called Tyler, My Creator. And it was about like, if like it was about like me, if I literally like worshipped like Odd Future and Tyler the Creator. And it was like very funny. So
That is a great
yeah.
title.
Do you have siblings? Are you an only child?
No, I'm an only child.
Okay, that makes more sense too. Because if you had siblings, like I feel like that whole story would have gone a little bit different. Okay, but then you end up at Lipscomb, Christian school. So how did all that happen with rap and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I went to Lipscomb, kind of following my girlfriend at the time. Didn't even really know a lot about Lipscomb. I toured it and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go here.
It's close
And
to
wound up
home.
loving it. Like can only say good things about Lipscomb. So I really did love it. Tried to
I
get
paid him
really
to say that.
involved. Yeah. I'm on the payroll. But I think my biggest thing going into college was like, I'm the type of person, or I became this type of person when I got to college, where I was like, listen, I'm gonna say yes. Like, I'm gonna like do everything I can because like, why not? Like, this is the time. I'm away from my parents. I have like nothing. Like, I don't know a ton of people. Like, I'm gonna like not reinvent myself, but like in a way, I guess, kind of reinvent myself. Like, really like put myself into situations that high school Cole would not have put myself in. So, I really tried to get involved. And that's like when I started really doing the rap music, because I just got so involved and so plugged in at the school that I was like, man, I can kind of leverage this. Like I have like,
a brand.
I have like this, like I'm building this like brand, like, oh, I'm Agent Paco, people thought that was like funny. And so it's like, oh, like I need to like keep this momentum going. I need to like release some music. And so like, that's what led me to release my first 2 like singles. And then that summer, my first like tape, I guess, like EP. And so that kind of spiraled to an EP. I literally went to Memphis with a friend from Lipscomb, recorded it all like in his like attic or whatever, like on his laptop, and then came back that fall and just marketed that album like super heavy, like at Lipscomb, just like really like pushed it. I think the biggest thing for me was I threw a concert, and I think that's when it became like real for me, because like, I mean, literally 250 to 300 people actually pulled up to that concert, and it was a free show. So like, I didn't like make a ton of money or anything, but like the fact that I was able to do that, I was like, oh my God, like it was pretty crazy. Like hours before the show, there was a line around the building. I had it at Rooted, and there was a line literally around the building, like an hour before the show. And one of the owners of Rooted, I just like distinctly remember me and him being inside, seeing a line of people an hour before the show. And he looked at me and he was like, dude, like, who are these people? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I genuinely like do not know like half of these people. And he was like, this is actually like, I think he was like very surprised that I was able to like do it. And I don't know, that just like made it so real to me. I wound up selling a ton of t-shirts, made some merch, and like really tried to capitalize like on that experience. And yeah, that just like pushed it kind of into what it became like now, So yeah.
So
that
are
was
you
a big
working?
moment.
Are you working at Rooted at this point, and that's the plug to make it happen there?
I mean, at that point, Rooted had just opened. So this was, I guess, about 6 years ago when Rooted had just opened. And, it was the first year of Rooted. They didn't have a ton going on. They, I was like not technically, I think, employed by them. Like I wasn't making money like working there, because I kind of didn't really make money and like really officially work there until like a year or two into their business. But I was just like friends with them, obviously, went there like all the time and like helped out like in the back and stuff. And so like, I think I was just plugged in enough there to where they were like, yeah, throw a show here, whatever. Cause they probably thought nobody was going to come. They were like, yeah, whatever. And then everybody came and they were, standing on the big counter in the middle, going crazy and dancing and like a ton of people. And like, that's when it was like, oh my God, like what the heck? So yeah, that's crazy.
Awesome. What a story. All right. And then I know you're a big Cheerwine guy and you got on a hoodie. So I got to know some of that story too. Shout out, free shout out.
Cheerwine again, like it just happened by chance. Like it really was like I came to Lipscomb for the weekend where I visited to like tour, and it was an event, Relay for Life, that they had. They don't have it anymore. I think they don't do it anymore, but they used to do Relay for Life, and it was this 12-hour overnight like event in Allen Arena, and I went as like a prospective student or whatever and got to like walk around and had a Cheerwine there. I like literally remember like somebody like saying, oh, you need to try this if you've never had it. And I drank it and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I'm not a soda guy. Like I'm like a water only kind of guy, but I had the Cheerwine and I was like, man, this is pretty good. Like what the heck? And so they were like, oh, you can get this at Cookout. We need to go to Cookout. And so I went to Cookout for the first time, like the next night or that night or whatever. And that's the night that I just like, was like, man, I got to have this Cheerwine. Like I got to find this. And so it just became like the drink I always like drank. Yeah, it just became a thing.
So Cheerwine for you is like Jack Harlow and New Balance.
Yeah, basically. And like honestly, at this point, it's a pretty conscious. I think like when I started, it was definitely a very unconscious. Like I'm just always drinking Cheerwine. I think as I, did more and more music and like tried to like make more of like a presence in like the local scene or whatever, like I think I tried to like be like, oh, like Cheerwine, that's good. Like you're saying, I made the conscious decision to be like, okay, Cheerwine is like gonna be like my thing.
It's
like
your
I want,
shtick.
yeah, it's like my shtick. Like, and even like Warby Parker, like the glasses that I have on, like, I have a song called Warby Parker. I have a song called Twice Daily, like the gas station. Like I was trying to make these like these local things like into like things, you know what I mean? Because like then people are like, oh, like this guy's like repping like Nashville, you know what I mean? Like a song called 101, which is like the rap station here. It's like I wanted it to be like very like Nashville. So
has Cheerwine ever sent you merch or like given you money?
No, they threatened to sue me. They sent me a cease and desist.
Bull crap.
Yeah, sorry.
Why?
Like
That
2
is
years
way
ago,
cooler than them being sponsored. That
Why
is way
should
cooler.
I'm so
made
confused.
I made merch that said Agent Paco, but it was in the shape of the Cheerwine logo, and I was selling it, and they somehow found where I was selling it and sent me a cease and desist. They got my email off my like website and sent me a cease and desist, and were like, if you don't take this down within the next week, like we will be like suing you, like blah blah. And so I mean, I took it down, but I still sold up the shirts. So.
Are they owned by Coke or who are they owned by?
No, they're not. They're just independent. Yeah, and they're based in like North Carolina. They're not even based in Tennessee, but like still, like I don't know. It's crazy.
Not
that is
free shout
awesome
out to Cheerwine, but that's so this is random. This just popped in my head. There's this rapper. His name is Smoke DZA. If anybody's ever heard of Smoke DZA, he's got a song that you never heard of Smoke DZA.
No.
Oh my gosh, he's got a song.
I've heard of RZA, SZA, Jizza, but
not Smoke DZA.
No.
Go, and I think it's a song that features ASAP Rocky, who you've heard of. Okay, so go on YouTube or whatever and Google Four Loko, which is like a malt drink that you can get at a gas station.
Yeah.
And
That's like a deadly drink right there.
Is it?
Yeah, Four Locos are intense. I've had one once, but I was like, yeah, never again.
Well, he has a song called Four Loko, and they, instead of suing him, they gave him a bunch of money because they made a bunch of money because he did a song called Four Loko.
I'm just not.
So
I mean,
screw you, Cheerwine. Not free shout out.
Maybe one day.
Bud Light your.
Keep the door open. We got to keep the door open because maybe one day I'll get the check from Cheerwine, and I'm ready. So Cheerwine, if you're watching, like I'm ready for the
How many
bag.
sponsors do they have? Screw them.
They don't do it. We emailed Cheerwine like early on, like this was years ago, but we like got Cheerwine's email and emailed and we're like, do you do any sort of sponsorships? Like we're doing like a lot of promotion in Nashville, like of Cheerwine, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, sorry, we don't do any sponsorships like of any kind, which I'm like, that's bull. Like if I got to a big enough spot, like they would for sure like hook me up.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting.
What? That is that's crazy.
That
What
is kind
goes-
of you to still wear their merch.
I'm still here. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is 2023, and I'm rocking the Cheerwine hoodie. So, I mean, it is what it is.
So talk to us
Man.
about Rooted. That was kind of the next big step. You talked about, all started at the concert.
Yeah.
You went to work there. We've had Alexander's been on the podcast and talked about the kind of his roots and here in Nashville and starting Rooted. Talk about the career post college. What was the next step?
Yeah, I mean, even while I was in college, I started working at Rooted, and then it just kind of transitioned. At first I was just in the stores, like a regular, like just person. Then I transitioned out of the store to being like the leader of the warehouse when we had a warehouse built. This was like, I guess, 4 years ago. So I was in charge of the warehouse doing like all the online fulfillment and like warehouse stuff. And then I got the opportunity to go to Louis Vuitton. So I was able to leave, went to Louis Vuitton for a while. And then, yeah, I mean, it just so happened this past February, I want to say, is when the position at Rooted like opened up for me to possibly come back. And, I've always loved Rooted. Like I said, like I've been pretty plugged into Rooted since before it was even a store. I knew, Alexander and Aaron and like Jamie and like had talked to them, and like they knew that I was super into fashion, and like I obviously like liked them, and like I don't know, I felt pretty like plugged into that company, and like really like have a lot of passion for it. So when the opportunity came back to kind of jump back in, I was like, man, like should I do it? Like I just left, like do I really want to go back? And like it just made sense for me, just because I was like, man, like I just want to have fun. Like like obviously like I want to make a lot of money, like that's the goal, but like I also just want to like have fun doing it. So like I felt like this was just the best path for me to just like have fun doing it, like really like take it and like kind of run with it. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah, as of now, like I became the manager of the store, so now I like run the store here, and yeah, it's been great so far. So I mean, it's been cool to be back, and like I don't know, we'll see kind of what happens like in the future, but
How much of because I know a lot of Aaron's job was sourcing and finding new stuff, man. Every time I went in there, there was some new brand that I never heard of. Like I'd never heard of Mason Margiela until I went into Rooted. So is that part of your job? Are you doing a lot of that?
No. So like we actually have like this guy Ray, who he used to be the manager of the store, and so he actually transitioned to.
He's the dude with all the tattoos and wears the beanie all the time.
Yeah. So he's like he's our buyer now. So he's the one who actually like goes to the fashion weeks and has the meetings with the brands and like brings them on and like purchases the clothes. So that's his job. So I'm more like literally like whatever they send me is what I gotta put out and sell. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my job.
So is your goal like I feel like what we've heard through this whole story is a very entrepreneurial path and desire. So is your goal to start your own brand, to be a, obviously maybe not at the same level, but a Pharrell? Like, is that what you see yourself doing?
I mean, honestly, like, I think that's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot, just because, I've got the music thing going on. And to be quite honest, like, the music has always been like fun for me. It's never been like, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to do music, I'm going to like go on tour, whatever. Like, if that happened and I blew up, then great. But like, at the end of the day, like, I just made the music because I was like, this is fun. I have a lot of friends. They seem to enjoy it. I'm going to keep making it. You know what I mean? So like, I've just kind of been at that point with the music. I think with the fashion, that was like the thing where I was like, this is like what like my like heart is like into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is like I actually went to college to Lipscomb to be a film major. And so for the first year I was in the film program, and then decided to switch majors to fashion just because I knew just like in my body that like I was doing the wrong thing. Like I was like, in my free time outside of film class, I was looking at fashion. So I was like, I just need to do fashion. Like, this is like what I care about, So like, I think even now, like years later, like that is still like the passion of mine. So yeah, I mean, I am trying to, I've been cooking up some stuff for like the past 6 months now, honestly, about like my own kind of like brand. So I'll be able to kind of do some of that later this year, hopefully, early next year. So I think that's probably the next path for me. Now, do I like want that to like, do I want to be a creative director and like blah, blah, blah? Like, I don't necessarily like need to be that, but I don't know. I think it is time for me to, I've gone on, you know, all these like adventures and like done all this stuff. And I think like the only thing that I have yet to do that I like really, really, really want to tackle is making clothes that I think are actually cool. So I think that's probably the next big like step for me if I had to say.
Yeah, it feels like it when just talking to you and being a 43-year-old guy who I can look back on my life and I can say, man, I wish I'd done XYZ. You have the lowest amount of risk you'll ever have in your life. You don't have any kids. You're fairly recently married. Like that's a God thing, man. That's God speaking into you. That's a part of your DNA that I don't think you should deny for whatever it's worth. Take it from a 43-year-old guy who's nobody.
No, I appreciate, and like again, that's what I'm trying to do. Like I know there are people like I've been making music and then I kind of stopped making music since COVID just because it kind of like took the wind out of my sails a little bit. And like I know that like I want to do music, like I don't want to give that up. I want to have the music and like I want to keep doing that, but also like you said, like my heart is just like set in this other place. And like I've been working, like I get off work and then I come here and then I try and like work on some stuff for like a brand and like stuff like that. And then I'm tired and I go to bed, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know, all my energy, I feel like I'm pushing in this like one direction. So I just want to like see this through. And then like, if music comes along the way, if anything else comes like along the way, I'll do that too. Like, that's great. Like I'm open to it. But like for now it's like, man, I told myself I would never do a clothing brand. I would never make anything if one, I didn't want to wear it, like if it wasn't cool enough for me to wear, and then two, like if it wasn't cool enough for like other cool people to also like wear, you know what I mean? Like I know that's like, that sounds like super like duh, you know what I mean? Like obvious, but like in Nashville, especially, like again, no, like this is not any sort of like shade on anybody in Nashville, but like the people who make clothes that like live in Nashville, I feel like it's very much like done the same way. Like it's very much like you get
what
a
would the
blank
tourist
hoodie,
buy?
you get a blank hoodie,
That's
you get
exactly
a blank
right.
t-shirt.
It's
put
what
a
would
screen
tourists
print on
buy.
it. Yeah, you just it's like just a screen printed like design or a screen printed logo, and that's like the brand, and they just drop it, and it's like cool. I've got a shop on Instagram, and it's like, all right,
I got a 615 shirt and a TriStar.
but it's just like I'm trying to do something where it's like, no, like the brands that you see in a store like Rooted, where it's like, no, like these are like, these brands have stockists at stores around the country. These brands like actually have like, they do like a fashion show. These brands like do like, they really do it. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, I just screen printed a hoodie. Here you go. Like, it's like, nah, you're like actually like doing it. So like, I'm trying to like actually like do it. You know what I mean? So
who would you say, or what brands would you say are like you draw inspiration from?
I think like it's been different. Like recently, it's been like a lot different than usually. Like I think my biggest inspiration, like in the past, like as cliche an answer, I feel like this is recently, but like Virgil Abloh is like, I've been like on him like literally since before he made Off-White, like when he was making Pyrex in 2014, like I was like into that. That's like, again, like I was on Reddit, like telling people to buy like Off-White and like when it came out. And like now I get to own like all these Off-White pieces from like the early seasons and stuff that like nobody else thought was cool. But like, I was like, nah, this is like crazy. Like I was in college doing presentations over Off-White and Virgil Abloh, and everybody in the class was like, I genuinely don't know who this person is. Like, why are you so passionate about this thing? And then like the next year he did the Nike collab and just blew up worldwide. So it's like, he's somebody who I've just been on since day one. And like that whole era, the whole era of like, I mean, it was like him and like Matthew Williams, who's like at Givenchy now, and Alix, like Heron Preston, like, you know, like Kanye, that whole camp, like Travis Scott, like that whole camp at the 2013, 2014 like era is like where I draw like all my inspiration from, just because it's like they are they're like the blueprint. Like they really did it. They were just like people who lived and had a blog on Tumblr, and now they're fashion literal like icons at the biggest fashion houses like in the world. So it's like, man, I'm a guy from Possumtown, Tennessee. Like, can I do that? Like, how can I do that? You know? So I've just been trying to like study from like that and like be that, you know, like that's, yeah, just emulate it however I can. So
is it as simple as maybe this is a stretch a little bit, but like for instance, I have at least 3 items in my house that are Rooted branded. Like I have a hat, I've got a shirt, I've got a hoodie. Are you doing any of that? Do they ask you for your opinion on any of that, or is it somebody else that's doing any of that?
I think like with the Rooted brand specifically, like they are just like, to be honest, I don't even think this is like wrong to say, but I just think like they're not focused on it like right now.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe there will be a time and place for like it to be like, hey, Cole, we like want to launch the Rooted brand and we want you to like take charge and like make designs and blah, blah, blah. Like maybe that's in the future. But like for now, like I very much think they're focused on like,
It's just the product.
it's just like, how can we sell more product? How can we market ourselves better? How can we expand into like new like categories and like opportunities like for the business? Like, I think that is like 100% the main focus. So that day will come, but like as of now, like I don't really think anybody is like focusing on making like Rooted merch at this point. You know what I mean?
Which is smart because I don't think the market's there in Nashville yet. And I feel like Rooted was ahead of the curve. I think they took a big risk being one of the first, boutique sneaker shops in Nashville. And I think they've helped push the culture forward and the market forward in Nashville because you've seen so many companies come after them. I think being in a college town with, you've got Vanderbilt, you have Belmont, TSU, Lipscomb, MTSU, like that's helping push the culture because that's pulling people from all over the country, from the Californias, from the New Yorks in. And so I'm curious, Cole, as you're looking to, launch a brand and you really lean into the Nashville market, what do you see? What are the things that are holding us back? What are our opportunities? Like what do you see the Nashville landscape in 5 years?
I think the number one thing holding Nashville back is the culture of the resale culture in Nashville, because like Nashville is a resale city. Like there are a lot of shops that resell sneakers. Like there are 10 resale shops in Nashville and 1 retail shop, and it's Rooted. Like that is like, you know what I mean? Like that has these brands. And so that's not a bad thing. Like, it's making money. Go get your money if you want to resell Jordans and like Supreme and like whatever, like get your money. But like, I think there's a negative there where you're now creating this culture of Nashville is a resale city. And it's even like, again, like I love Music City Vintage. That's a great example of like, that's a great like vintage spot. And when people come to Rooted and they're like, where else should I go? I'm usually like, hey, you should check out Music City Vintage. They have like a cool selection, blah, blah, blah. But like at the same time, that's a vintage store. Like that's a different scene than like Rooted. That's a completely different, like, I don't know.
New drops, exclusive.
Yeah.
It's not the same person.
It's not the same. And so I think what Rooted really needs is competition. Like, I think that would actually be good. I think if other stores like Rooted popped up or became like other, franchises came to Nashville or whatever it may be, like, I see that as a good thing because it's like you're developing a culture of retail and, more of an upscale vibe, like Rooted doesn't like to call itself a sneaker store. Like they are very much like, we will never say we are a sneaker store. We are a designer apparel and footwear, like is the like official wording, you know what I mean? So it's like, as a designer apparel and footwear store, we're having to refer people to the mall because there's like
no other options.
There's no other option. It's like, no, like in New York, you could throw a rock and hit a cool store. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think competition is what Rooted is, what like the city, not even Rooted, but like what the city needs is like just more of it all, because I think that's like a good thing.
Yeah, no, I think competition would definitely push the whole market in general forward, right? It's like when a tight end gets a new deal and it raises everybody's ceiling. But something I was thinking about just now, I used to work for Nike when I was in high school, worked for Nike in Cool Springs, and we had managers that had been there for like 20 years. And I remember when that new Nike opened at 5th and Broad, and one of the managers told me, yeah, I heard from one of our district managers that that store is there to take Rooted out of business. And I remember I thought that was weird because Nike obviously is one of y'all's biggest people. Y'all sell Nike all the time. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. I remember walking into that store and I was like, this store is completely different. Like there's only women's clothing in there. One, like, I don't know how they would even compete with Rooted. But were you there when that store opened, and has that even factored at all in y'all's strategy? Is there anything that y'all do with
not
that?
At all. I mean, again, Nike's great, but like that has not affected at all. I think like just because that store is just so different. Like they have mostly running product. The last time I went in, like it's not a lot of.
It looks like a Lululemon.
They do get like they get some hype Jordans, and like they'll have like Panda Dunks one time and stuff like that like kind of everybody gets, but like it's not like they're like changing the culture. It's like yeah, it's like a Lululemon. You know what I mean? Like it's great that it's there. It's like it's a good looking store, and like but it's like I don't know. You're not doing anything crazy.
It was way overhyped.
It's for tourists. Like it's on 5th and Broadway because it's for tourists who come to Nashville. So I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
What a joke.
Amen.
Well, to the same vein, I never thought about how I've never looked at us as a resale city until you just said that, and it makes so much sense. So like when a store like Impossible Kicks comes into Green Hills Mall, I mean that doesn't help. That just doubles down on it, right? That's interesting. That's a good take.
Landon, what's your thoughts on Impossible Kicks?
I mean,
has any of us been in there? I haven't.
I've been in there.
Yeah, I've been in there.
I mean, I'm not a fan. It's overpriced. It's cash. It's a cash grab on that market. I mean, they know their consumer. They were strategic in going to Green Hills Mall, and all the private school kids are going to keep them in business. So
all the Panda Dunks.
Props to them.
I don't even know if that. I don't understand it, to be honest, because the last time I went in there, it's cool how they if you haven't been, they set the shoes up in a gradient. So like the white shoes to the black shoes, and then like it's like colorful. So it's a very colorful store, which is cool. I think the main downfall is like what you were saying, like you can literally get it on StockX for cheaper. And like when you can do that, there's a problem because even StockX is like crazy. You know what I mean? So like when you can get it on StockX for cheaper, that's when it's like, all right, man, like what are you really trying to accomplish here? Like, I don't know.
All right, I got a question that I'm going to trust your objective opinion. And maybe I'll frame it as a statement. And that is, as a fashion icon that you are, how do you feel, take away, whatever you want to call it, you guys have On Cloud and Solomon.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Like and or do I just need to change my perspective? Do I need to jump on the Solomon train? I'm never going to get on the On Cloud train, and that's nothing against Rooted or you or anybody. It's more against a whole section of society, which is the Williamson County.
Hey, listen, no. You're muddying the waters.
You are muddying.
I'm sorry.
You guys got to cut it.
But
just talk about that concept. How do you feel?
Okay, so On Cloud to me is like I don't wear that brand. I just don't like.
I respect you so much.
That's the type of brand.
Hey, do you own any Crocs?
No.
Let's
we
go.
win. Those were in my rapid fire. So
right now, go ahead.
Crocs. But the thing about On Cloud is like they're for like it's like that brand. What's the Allbirds? You know what I mean? Like they're for tech. They're for like tech bros who like have a lot of money and want to like have the cool new shoes, so they buy On Cloud.
That wear Lululemon.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Now there's a reason it's in Rooted. You know what that reason is? Because we sell a lot of On Clouds. Like that's the reason. Like that.
It just get to the bag.
it's what get to the bag
Okay.
no matter the cost. But like
I can respect that answer.
But I will say the one thing I will say about OnCloud, and this is all the only good that I'll say, they are making a pivot towards fashion. Like I know that for a fact. Like they are trying to be more fashionable. We just got a new model in the other week that like is a new model that they're doing that is more fashionable and is not just a running sneaker. Now, I still don't love it. I'm not going to buy it, but like it's a change in a direction where maybe one day they'll get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at Paris Fashion Week in June that just happened last month, OnCloud did a collaboration with like a streetwear brand, like Post Archive Fashion, which is like a streetwear brand. They have an OnCloud shoe and it looks kind of cool. Like it's like not terrible. And so again, like I think it's one of those things where like maybe one day they'll get there, but like for now, like I'm not wearing OnCloud. Like right now, I can't do it.
I just feel like they stole New Balance's script from the past 3 years and said, yeah, we'll do that.
Which is fair. It's Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's a Hall of Famer because he copied Michael Jordan. Same thing.
I mean, that's like, it's what you got to do. Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's
but
the same thing. It is.
But it is. I agree with that. I think like they know exactly who they're selling clothes to.
Yeah.
The same way Lululemon. Like Lululemon knows exactly who they're selling clothes to, and they do it very, very well, you know? Like, and it's just like, yeah.
Okay, so there was a very important second part. So you passed the first test.
Okay.
The other brand that he referenced was Solomon.
I had a brief conversation with
so we did
Paco
talk about this in person, but I will say I'm a Solomon fan. So I don't know if that upsets anybody, but
My man.
like Solomon.
That's a great segue, Mason, into the Solomon Skinny.
Yeah, I got it
Hold up. Listen.
The Solomon Skinny.
I'm a hater. Listen, wait a second. I'm a hater, but it's more because maybe I just don't understand. But
look at those ones on the left; those are sick.
Fire.
They're not sick.
The bottom right one's hard. The top right ones, I don't know about the top right ones, but the hard.
Neither of those are sick or hard. This looks like something that I would see a dad wearing at a baseball field during a baseball game.
No.
If he's fly.
He'd be fly.
Like he really got it on though. Like if he was wearing OnClouds, it's like all right, bro. But if he's wearing like those Solomons, it's like man, he's kind of going.
Yes.
Because that's the thing about Solomon is like they're further along than OnCloud. Like Solomon was a hiking brand, and then about a year ago, 2 years ago, they were like, oh wait, we can make these cool and then sell more. And so they did. And now they're on the same trajectory that On was on, but they're just 2 years ahead. Like in 2 years, OnCloud is going to be probably where Solomon is making cool colors. But like Solomon, they didn't change the shoe. They were just like, oh, let's make it like cool. I don't know.
Interesting. I respect your opinion.
They're cool.
I would never wear these, but let me ask you this. If let's get really extreme. If Travis Scott walks into Rooted and walks right up to Agent Paco and is like, all right, hey, I've got a pair of OnClouds, and then I've got a pair of Antas, and then I've got a pair of Leanings. What are you going to go with?
I may tell him to buy the OnClouds, man. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
That's fair. Like I wouldn't buy any of the rest of them either. Even though Kyrie went to Anta, you wouldn't buy Kyrie's?
That is insane. The fact that he did that is insane.
It is insane.
Like,
but he didn't have any other choices.
But like you got the bag, but like at what cost? You know, I mean, that is like back against the wall. Like he had to take that deal to like feed his family type thing. You know what I mean? Like he knew that he like needed to put food on the table for that deal. I don't know. That's like soccer players going to play in Saudi Arabia. That's basically what that was. You know what I mean?
No, it's the live golf.
It's the live
yeah,
golf.
it is.
Or Messi coming to the MLS.
Yeah, like you got to do what you got to do.
Listen, we've gone over this time and time again on this podcast, and this when you get a chance to get to the freaking bag, you put your pride aside and you get to the bag. On Cloud comes to me tomorrow night, and they're like, "Hey, we got a really sweet deal. We got this new On Cloud coming out. It's going to have some purple hues and." Maybe we'll put some fur on it. And I hate shoes with fur, but damn it, I'd be like, I'm in. Where to sign? Where do I sign?
I agree. I think
Cole's
it's
a
crazy.
reasonable guy.
I think everything to do with like, oh, but you have to have like morals. You have to like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the only people who say
Screw
that are like in the position where they don't like, they're not in the position to have the choice. Like the people in the choice, why do they like take the bag? Because they know like, well, I'm going to take the bag. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, it makes sense. You're reasonable.
Yeah. Take the bag.
What about music? Like, where are you now? Because I know you've had a little hiatus. 2020 happened. It screwed all of us. Do you feel like you're back in the gear?
I've made music. I don't know. It's one of those things where, again, like I said this earlier, this is a gift and a curse. I would not call myself a perfectionist. Like I'm definitely not a perfectionist, but I am if I can't put it out and it be good, then I will never put it out. Like I don't think that's a perfectionist, like whatever you want to call that. But like the only reason I've put out technically one album and 1 to 2 like EPs, that's like my entire discography right now. And that's because like the other songs that I've made have just not been very good, or like not even, maybe they're not even not very good, but they're just like not to the point where I'm like, yeah, I need to release this. You know what I mean? So like I've been sitting on some music and like I've recorded a couple songs. I have a lot of beats that I really like, but I haven't gotten the one where I'm like, all right, tomorrow, this is the single. Because, and at this point, it's almost a double-edged sword, because at this point, I've gone so long without releasing music. I really do want to make another album. I think that's like, if I make more music, I want to do an album, even if it's the last album I ever make. Like, I want to put out one more body of work. And like, but if I do that, like, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I haven't made music in so long, so it has to be good. Like, if it's bad, then it almost, and I know this is me being dramatic, but it almost taints the other stuff if this is bad. Because it's like, man, like you took 2-3 years off, like, and you made this, like, I don't know. That's just kind of where my like head is with that.
That makes complete sense, because I'll tell you, and I'll just be honest, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, is that Kendrick Lamar takes a 5-year break. He puts out an album. I don't think it's very good. I would give it a C+ or B ish. It wins a Grammy because it almost feels like a lifetime achievement award, and that's where music is right now. It's like the bar is so low. If something that's even kind of decent comes out, it's a classic. And I don't agree with that, but that is where we are at the moment because it's so watered down. But I get that what you're saying. It's like, okay, if you're going to wait this long to put something out, it better be freaking dope. And you're feeling that pressure.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Frank Ocean. I mean, he hasn't released music in so long, and it's like, I mean, yeah, things happened. Obviously, I've heard like in his personal life where he's like not released music and blah, blah, blah. But like, regardless of that, I think he is very much in the position that I'm in, where it's like, man, you have 2 albums and they're both that good. Like, how can you possibly do a third? Like, it's just like, it's almost impossible. And like you said, Kendrick Lamar, like, I'm not a huge fan of that album as well, to be completely honest. And like, I don't know. In my opinion, it's just like, man, like, I don't know. It's hard. Like, I just don't want to like disappoint people. Like, there are people who like my music, and like, you know, people like the song Charizard. And it's like, if I make a song that's like not as good as Charizard, then like, they're going to be like, I'm just going to go listen to Charizard. Like, I don't really need to listen to like this, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
I would say that the people that really like it though, or the people that are really fans, like I think of Kendrick Lamar fans, I know for example, and you can apply this to anything, is the core is going to like it whether you like it or not. Like here's another recent example. I don't know how on earth the new Lil Uzi album is a number one in the country. It is absolutely garbage. If he was standing here in front of me, I would tell him that it was absolutely horrible. It's not good at all. But the core, right? The core makes it hot or whatever. So what I would tell you, Cole, is that your core is going to make it dope and like put it out and you put your pride aside and just let the people love you.
I think I will say the only response that I would have to that that's different in my situation, I think, is because let's go back to Kendrick Lamar. Let's like use that example. Kendrick Lamar put out such good music and got that fan base through that he can drop one that's not, I'm not saying it's bad, but maybe not even 10 out of 10, not to that quality, because he's dropped multiple projects that I would consider incredible. So it's like he kind of gets a miss or two.
He almost gets
like
a pass.
like not a pass, but like he's gonna keep the fans. I feel like for me, it's almost imperative that this is the best, because if it's not, then it's like, well, he's had some good music, but he's never had like the music to like pop off. Like I'm not a big artist outside of, the people who, my core group of like fans who like do actually listen to me. So it's like this next music, like there is a lot of pressure because it's like, okay, like this needs to capture a bigger audience. And like, this has to be the one to blow you up or to like, whatever. Like, it's not just for the core fans. It's for like, it's got to be for everyone, like, so it's hard.
I'll make one more comment and then we can move on. I'm sorry, guys. I know there's been a lot more music than maybe our fan base wants, but here's what I would say.
No, it's interesting.
Is that every single day almost something new comes out on iTunes. And yeah, I'm still the guy that goes to iTunes. I don't do Spotify. I just look at the new whatever. Yeah. And everything largely sounds exactly the same. And here is what would be my experience with Agent Paco, is that it sounds like the life I grew up in, and it's genuine and it's honest. And there's a lot of me's out there that grew up in a middle-class household in a Christian Bible Belt that like rap music, and they can relate to you. And so I would just be you, and I would get past the self-conscious stuff, and I would just do it.
Yeah. And you're right. And like when I made all the previous music, I wasn't in my head about it because it wasn't, I just made it. You know what I mean? So like now I think I've had too much time to think about it. Honestly, I think again, like going back to like COVID, like I think that like gave me too much time to think about it. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Like it gave me 2 years of my life to really sit here and be like, man, like I got to make more music. Oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? When I should really just be like, I'm just going to like put this out. You know what I mean? So you're definitely right.
Well, look, we're all three older than you, and we all three struggled with the exact same thing. And we're old, like, I can't imagine being your age and going through that crap. So it's going to be all right, man. It's going to be all right.
Thanks.
Papa Hayes in the building.
Oh, Landon, your mic's getting worse. It's not terrible. It's not chipmunk status.
I feel like we've kept this guy way too long. Mason, hit him with the last stuff. All
right, let's see. See if we already covered Crocs. We already covered On Clouds.
Not a Croc guy.
Are you up on this? Is very out of left field, and then we'll bring it back to some sneakers. But are you up or down on sneaking snacks into a movie theater?
Up, very up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very up. You just bring a blanket in, put it in the blanket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, now here's back to sneakers. We'll give you about 2 minutes. Tell us what your thoughts on fakes are.
I'm very passionate. I'm passionately against fake anything, like shoes, clothes, anything. Yeah.
Why?
I mean, for me, it's just like it's just like lame. Like once you have one fake piece of clothing, like nothing is real. Like you could have 50 real pieces of clothing and one fake piece of clothing, and now it's all fake, in my opinion. Like because you can't differentiate it. Like fakes have gotten so good now to where you really can't tell. Like half of the time, like obviously you can on bad ones, but like good fakes are pretty close. And in my mind, it's just against the spirit of it. Like the whole point of fashion is like you're almost like you're taking the easy way out. Like you're losing the chase. Like half of fashion is like the chase. It's like, man, like I can't afford this like Louis Vuitton hoodie, but like I need that. And so I saved up for a year and then I went to the store and I bought it. And this hoodie, like it's not even that cool anymore, but I saved up money and I bought it. And like now I get to wear it.
It's
and
emotional.
This is sick. Yeah. There's a whole emotional side to it. And like, I think TikTok has very much like ruined people's perception of fashion. I think it's like people on TikTok are very much like go buy reps, go buy like fake on like a, DHgate and Panda Buy and like all these like rep sites or whatever. And I'm like, listen, like you're just broke. Like you can't afford it. You're 15. Like you don't get to have designer clothes. You're 15 and broke. Like just wait, save up, and then buy it when you can afford it. And then it'll mean something. Like, I don't know. Because once you have one fake, like it's over. It's all fake.
We've only had one guest on that was pro fakes, and believe it or not, he's the guy that you need to meet because he should be a fashion designer. And you can talk to
he's
him
done
yourself.
stuff with Rooted.
He's done stuff like you should meet him. You guys would be a good
What was the justification?
He grew up poor in Compton, and he wants maybe somebody else give a synopsis because I'm having a hard time believing now.
I think it was
or remembering now.
It's for him.
It's about the vanity.
The
was
vanity
a lot
of it.
It was more of the vanity.
Yeah, of like if his thing was if I like the shoes, but I'm not able to get the shoes, I still like the shoes, so I want them. And so I think his example was the Mars Yard. So he had fake or reps Mars Yard, and he was just like, "That's my favorite shoe," and obviously I cannot get them the style that I want or whatever, and so I can't remember. I think that was episode 21.
I would even challenge that and say I think half of the reason that you like that shoe, and I think he would say that I'm wrong, but half of the reason that you like that shoe is because it was a limited release. I would say if that was a general release shoe and the Mars Yard was in every Foot Locker across America for 15 years, he would not think that shoe is cool. Like he just wouldn't. And like, it just would not be the same. So like, I just think fashion is built on a scarcity like model, and like once you stop like respecting that, then like you don't even have to, like, I'm not saying everybody needs to even care about fashion, like it's like, who cares? Like if you like the shoe, then like that's awesome. But like you don't get to have it, but like you can like it. Like you can see it on somebody be like, yo, that's sick. But like you don't have to wear it. Like who cares? Like I don't know.
All that to be said, you need to meet this guy and I can connect you and you guys would hit it off really, really quick and you should start a brand and become the Virgil and the Kanye. I'm sorry. Keep going, Mason.
I think that's let me check. See.
What's in your closet, man? Like the last thing I have is like, what are you rocking? Like, what's your favorites right now?
Man, there's like one brand. I don't know. I sold a lot of my closet, to be honest. Like late last year, I wound up selling. I sold a lot, and like my closet right now is kind of all over the place. I have a lot of jackets, but it's the middle of summer, so it's kind of hard. I have really cool jackets. That's like the one cool thing in my closet is just like a bunch of like really cool, like, pretty like rare like jackets or whatever. So like unfortunately, I can't really wear any of that right now. So now I've been on a kick of buying t-shirts because it's the middle of summer. So I'm like, oh, I got to buy shirts. And right now, the brand that has the coolest brand like this year for me is a brand called St. Michael. And it's like the only brand that I've bought like all year. And the only brand that I probably will buy for the next foreseeable future, just because like, if my closet was just like entirely that like brand right now, I think I would be like happy. And I have like quite a bit because I've bought some over the past couple months, like 5 or 6 like pieces, but I just like need more, you know? So that's what I'm wearing right now.
What about shoes?
Shoes, I am buying a lot of Solomons, which is not the answer you want to hear, but
I'm not, look, I'm not, listen.
Go.
I'm a hater, but I'm not.
He hates it more because Landon talks about it and doesn't wear it.
There's no reason.
No,
There's no legitimate reason.
No, hold up. I hate it for the exact same reason that I think of On Cloud, because I associate it with something that I don't want to be. That's what it is. And so but that's my association. I could be way off base, and I am totally up for being proven wrong.
That's fair. I've bought like 4 pairs in the past couple months, so I need to like chill out. Damn. But I really have bought a lot of Solomons, and like honestly, it's just because they just go with whatever. Like I bought like a white pair and a black pair and like some fun pairs, and like I don't know, they just kind of go with whatever. So I've been buying a lot of that, and then ever since working at Rooted, like I've just been buying a lot of like just random stuff that's like comfortable because I'm standing 9 hours a day every day. So it's like I kind of have to be able to stand all day in these shoes. Like I got the Tiffany Air Force Ones when they came out, and you know, I've worn them once because they're honestly just not comfortable. And it's like, I'm not going to like stand in these all day and crease them up and like mess them up. Like, so I don't know. I need stuff that's why I've been buying Solomons, because they're honestly like, you can stand in them for 9 hours and like be cool. Yeah. So yeah, anything that's comfortable, like I will right now, I'm on it.
Well, so why do you draw the line with Crocs? Because I feel like that's one of their big selling points is they're super comfortable, or that's what people would say. Why do you draw the line on Crocs?
I think it's just a personal thing. I think stuff gets like just overplayed, honestly. Like I think Crocs are like, my cousin who was in middle school, everybody in his school has a pair of Crocs and like goes to school in a pair of white Crocs. Like literally, he showed me a picture and like it was like every 30 people in his class all wearing white Crocs, boys and girls. And it's like, man, I don't need a pair of Crocs. Like the middle schoolers are wearing Crocs. Like I don't need Crocs. You know, I'm too old for that. So like,
it's a Panda Dunk.
Yeah, I don't have any Panda Dunks. I don't wear any like Travis Scott merch, like Astro World like merch or anything. Like I don't really wear any Yeezy stuff anymore.
You're too old for that. You're too old for Travis Scott.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's cool and like it's cool, but you just get. Again, this sounds so bad, so I don't even really know why I'm even saying this, but like the type of people that wear a clothing brand like defines the clothing brand. I think that's a fair statement to say. Like I think, and that's kind of out of your control. Like if I'm Kanye West, he said from the day one, I want everybody in the world to own a pair of Yeezys. And he pretty much did it like as far as he got. And it's like, you know what? You accomplish your goal. Good for you. Like that was your goal from the get-go. Like you did it. You're rich, whatever. But like for me and like what I'm trying to do with my brand, I almost have the completely opposite mentality. Like I believe, again, like it just sounds
it's a
so
club,
like
it's a fraternity.
Yeah, it almost sounds like pretentious. So I'm not trying to be like pretentious or like snobby about it, but like it's almost to the way where it's like if the wrong people get a hold of it, then like they could ruin it. And that's like out of your control. Like as like the person who has the brand, like if weird people, like honestly, like if a bunch of middle schoolers start wearing the brand that I'm trying to create and it's trying to be like a legit, like real thing, then honestly, I'll be like, dang, man, that's not even that like cool anymore. Like I want like cool people to like care about the stuff that I care about, you know, like I want like to like rep it. And like, I don't know, it's a little different with the music, honestly, tying it back to like my music, because like I could care less who listens to my music and who like even buys the Agent Paco like merch and stuff, because to me, that's like different. That's like, well, I'm trying to connect with all different types of people and like really like put it out there. And like, if kids listen to Agent Paco music, which I know that they do, freaking great. Who cares? Like, that's awesome. Like the fact that I like have people who like my music at all is like a miracle. So like I don't even care. But like I don't know, with the brand, it's more like close to my heart. So it's more, I think, like I like really care about like stuff. And that's why, to be completely honest, like I don't know, that's why I like really enjoy like designer brands like Louis Vuitton and like brands where it's like there is a barrier of entry in a way. There's a barrier of entry where it's like, man, this hoodie's $2,000. Like you really like have to want this to like buy this. Like I kind of want my brand to be that way. Like I don't need everybody to buy my brand just because like, oh my gosh, that's Cole from middle school. Like I want to support his clothing brand and like buy it. But it's like a dude who doesn't care about fashion. It's like, that's cool. Like you don't need to buy it. Like it's all good. Like you can follow me on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I don't know. Like my stuff is like for people who care about it. Like it's like, if you care about this and actually think it's cool, then like by all means, please buy it. But like, if you're just buying it just like because it's like an obligation,
which is where we've come with Supreme. Supreme is what you have just described right now, right? That's what it's become. You can get it on Amazon. You Google search Supreme box logo and you'll get a $3 hoodie in a mail.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's just like, man, like, yeah, I just remember when it was the opposite of that, obviously. So like, yeah, that is a good example. That's pretty crazy. And so it's like, man, you really have to create that like barrier of entry where it's like, hey, like you like really like this. Like you really have to like understand what's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the similar argument you made for fakes. It's like, you want it to be intentional. Like this is an intentional thing that I'm making. I want the people who wear this to intentionally seek out what I'm looking for, or us to be in the same community and build a community of like-minded people. And I think of this as completely opposite of what you're trying to do, but Lululemon, they have the program where they don't want people to take it to Goodwill. They'll buy it.
Yeah, the like dupe thing. That is crazy.
Right. So they will literally give you money for old soiled Lululemon just so it doesn't show up at Goodwill.
I did not know that.
I just learned that like a few weeks ago. I was like, that is an incredible branding idea.
They had a pop-up in New York a couple months ago, I remember seeing, or somewhere, where you could bring in a fake Lululemon to the Lululemon store and they would give you a real one and take the fake away for free.
That's crazy.
Because they were like, we don't want you wearing a fake Lululemon. Like we want you to see why the real brand is just better than and so that creates like a new customer. You know what I mean? It's pretty genius. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Like I think Lululemon is doing some really like interesting like stuff there for sure. And I think like, again, like everything that I've said, I like don't want it to be misconstrued as like, there's no like hate whatsoever on anything. I think it genuinely is like, if you genuinely have done the research into these fashion brands and like have the love and the knowledge for like fashion, the way that like I feel like I do and like people around me do, like then you won't want to buy a fake. Like you'll get it. Like you'll get why it's
in a way,
you'll get why it's wrong. Like like if you like the Mars Yard so much, you know what I mean? Going back to that example, then it's like, listen, like go and like research like why that shoe is cool. Like research who Tom Sachs is and like what the Mars Yards were the first time he made them and how they never actually came out. And they were made out of astronaut like suits and material that like went to space and stuff. That's like crazy. And so to like get that shoe like in real life, like not everybody gets to have that, like, I don't know. It's just like, once you know the history, like it makes you not want to buy a fake, in my opinion. I don't know.
Maybe this is a stretch, but there is a bar in Nashville that's called the Red Phone Booth. It's on Church Street or close. I've been there one time, but in order to get into the Red Phone Booth, you have to get a passcode that you put into this phone booth that you have to get from somebody that's been there before.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. It's almost like I wish a brand could figure out a way to, you could only get a code from a person that is wearing it, right? So you can trust that.
That's a crazy idea. Oh my God.
That's a cool idea, actually.
A crazy idea.
How do you can't do that though, but I mean, it's the same.
I don't know. That's got me thinking. That's kind of crazy. No, that's cool though. Like, I don't know. It's just like nobody's done that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know how you pull that off, but that's what that when you were talking.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to care about money because you're not selling much doing that way. But like, I don't know that would. Be
I have
like,
heard about is not on the same lines, and we can close up after this. But I think it's rapper La Russell.
Who's
Am
that?
I'm not. It's I've listened to a branding podcast, and he might not be a rapper. I'm not sure, but his branding or merch idea was he put up on his website, and you could name your price on his merch. So you could type in whatever you're going to pay for it. And it started out, it was like $20 at the bottom. It would say like, this is made for this much. So if you want to like support, but then they raised it up to like the default was 100 and people would just start buying the default. But you could buy it for $1. He's like, my merch is not it's to promote me. So it's an expense of promotion. So if you want to like support me or promote me, you just tell me what you want to support me at, and then you get my merch for it. It's like that's interesting. It's an interesting way to go about it.
That's exactly how I feel.
And then here's another real life example: is there's the Nipsey Hussle albums that he sold for $1,000 that Jay-Z bought like 100 copies of or whatever. Right? That's what ultimately you're saying is barrier to entry. If you're serious, then you're going to get the real thing, right?
Yeah, and like again, I think those are two sides of like the same coin where it's like you can kind of have both. Like again, like I'm trying to juggle like Agent Paco, which is like I'd give my merch away for free, you know what I mean? Right. Like, or at least the cost of how much it costs to make, because it's like I'm not in it for the money, you know what I mean? Like in either thing, I'm not in it for the money, so it's like whatever. Like I'm honored you're like wearing this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, I think the other side of that coin, Hayes, is like what you're saying, where it's like now the barrier of entry is high, but the feeling is still the same. Like I'm still incredibly honored that you like want to wear it. It's just for like it's for a different reason. It may not be because of you know me or you like just want to support and like do your part. It's like, oh, this time it's like for the reason of like, oh, like I get it. Like I get the vision. Like it's like bigger, you know?
Yeah. That makes total sense, man.
Well, that's all I got. So any last questions?
What are your takes on the rise and fall of Polo Ralph Lauren?
I think Polo, I think it's interesting. I think like,
wow.
I think that's a good question because you're seeing Abercrombie and American Eagle and like those type of brands come back heavy. Like,
are they really?
Oh hard. My, so hard. Like I'm not wearing it because like, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, the quality is not crazy, you know, it's like pretty like, you know, relatively inexpensive, like still merch, but like, man, they're getting fashionable. Like the designs are getting cooler. They're taking away a lot of the ugly, like branding. Like they're really trying to reinvent themselves. I think Polo is very positioned to do the same thing. Now, the thing that Polo has against that maybe Abercrombie, American Eagle, whatever, like kind of don't have to worry about is there's kind of cooler versions of Polo out there at this point where it's like, man, like the people who are rocking Polo heavy, like they're just going to go buy Kith or Aimé Leon Dore, which is doing like the exact same thing. Like literally like their lookbooks, there are pictures where they're like identical styles in their lookbooks. And so it's kind of like, man, like if I'm Polo, I'm like, I don't really know how you like differentiate when like you did it first, but now there's somebody who like, while you were sleeping, they kind of like swept in and like took your market share, you know? So I don't know. It's interesting. I think that they're going to have to really figure out how to make the Polo logo like cool again. Cause like, I don't think
that's what I say it.
Well, because the minute they started opening outlets is when accessibility was raised, scarcity went away, and the brand value just plummeted.
When they went to TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Polo, like, I don't know, at the end of the day, it's like supposed to be like their affordable line, like for like, I guess the more average person, but it's also like, again, like what I'm saying, like you've kind of got these other brands that are like doing that, but in a cooler way. So it's like, what do you really have to offer at this point? Like, I don't know.
I've been getting, go ahead.
I was just saying back to Solomon, they've got the history, right? Polo's got the history in the market, right? And then you've got like an On Cloud coming in with no history but trying to mimic. So the
Exactly, and
Polo's
like
got
I
that
think
going for it.
Polo really needs somebody. I don't know who does. Like, I'm not really sure who's really making moves at Polo right now. Probably nobody, but like I really think they need to hire somebody to go back in the archive and study
Yes.
what you're saying. Like, why was this cool? Why was like,
Snow Beach.
like, why was Kanye wearing
Right.
polo when he was like back in the day? Like, why was it cool then, but like it's not cool now? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Somebody just needs to like, they got to pay somebody to kind of do the work.
But I think
Make
it
the
can go back to
pink
what
polo
you
cool.
what you said earlier, and that is you go into any Goodwill, pay whatever right now, and you'll find a billion polos, right? How many? I
Mhm.
mean, Landon probably does because of his job, and maybe Mason. I don't remember the last time I wore a polo shirt. Meaning even the style. Like I wear button-up shirts. Like I don't wear polos.
I wear a golf polo every day.
But
I'd say-
I've
But
been
is it
getting
Polo brand?
No,
exactly.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I'm
Right.
getting
exactly.
Even their target market, the customer
Even
who
their
wears a
target
polo every
market.
day, like isn't wearing polo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
also
exactly.
they've got to figure out something to your point, Cole, is the like you go back and you think of all the low heads, right? That's what you're thinking is like Raekwon, Snow Beach. You're thinking about all this old 90s polo stuff. And I'm getting Facebook marketed. I'm not on Instagram marketed, I guess, right now. A lot of this, they're trying to retro some things. Like I got retro marketed a thing today, which is like a polo volleyball polo shirt, and like it's not cool, so they've got to figure out a way. You're correct, somebody's got to do some better marketing to make it like a Jordan retro. I think is what they want to do, but it's not working yet. I think it also got super saturated with the stupid bear. Like the bear screwed up a lot of stuff for them. But I think the bigger hurdle they have is the resale thing where you go into any thrift store and you're going to find a billion polo guys in a shirt.
yeah, and I mean, when I was in school, everybody wore polo, but like now you're in school, and I bet those people are wearing just like other brands. Like I said, like even like the people that I see wearing like Aimé Leon Dore are like young adults, like
former
usually
polo
like
guys.
18 to 24, like white kids wear that brand, and like that's where you know if the brand's gonna pop off or not. That the market of like I go to private school and my parents will buy me whatever brand I like really want. Like that's like the market that like I feel like controls that the polo kind of sphere of clothing. You know what I mean? So like, and that market does not want polo. So it's like I don't know.
Good question, Landon.
And the
Which is
reason I asked
ironic.
Good question. Why do you
I
ask
was
that?
just- Oh, I have an Italian leather polo belt that I've owned since seventh grade. Since seventh grade,
And it
I
still fits?
it still fits. I wear it daily.
Wow.
Quality.
Quality. Well,
They
hey,
don't make them
listen,
like they used to.
They do not.
in the same instance, I'm still the guy. I'm the 40-year-old of the bunch where I go into a thrift store, I see all this polo stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, I don't believe they have a polo button up. And it's $3. Oh my gosh. Like I'm that guy. It's pathetic, I guess.
Polo's dope. I'm here for it when it comes back.
That's what I'm saying. I think polo's cool, and they have a really cool like history. So it's like I'm ready too. I'm ready for polo. It's just like they got to do it.
Let's start that. We will be
Polo boys.
Still Dripping will be the New Balance to Jack Harlow. We'll be that.
I think
We'll be the
we
polo
should
boys.
we should all go play polo first.
Polo boys.
Mm.
I'm
Did
never
you
in a
ever watch
billion
the
years getting all
YouTube
that.
video? It was a Nashville guy. Ben had polo.
I've been had polo.
Ben had.
Oh yeah, yeah. He passed
Ben
away.
had
That was
polo.
sad.
Yeah,
Like,
all right.
Oh,
yeah, man.
rip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that video was like so big. Yeah.
All right, let's just let this guy get out of here. This has been amazing.
I'm ready to go to bed.
Thank you guys. Hey, seriously, thank you guys for having me on. Like, it was very interesting conversation, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, it was really cool.
Hey, where can our listeners find you?
listen, I'm at Agent Paco on Instagram. Follow me there for updates. I know I said I'm going to be trying to release possibly some music, but probably more soon, some stuff regarding like a new clothing brand and stuff like that. So that's the best place to keep up. So yes, follow me on Instagram and stream The Devil Works Hard, but Agent Paco works harder while you're at it. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep bumping Charizard, keep bumping all my music. If you're a fan, maybe you'll find something that you've never heard before, you know? So
perfect.
I'd agree with all that.
How do you feel about freestyling?
I can't do it. I'm not good at it.
Neither can Hayes, but Hayes tries.
I start saying like dumb stuff and almost like I start getting like just like kind of weird. Like
throw on a freaking beat, Mason. Just shut up.
Hey, here's what we're gonna do then. We're gonna let Hayes go first, and then once you see how dumb it is, you can jump in if you feel it. You just let me know, all right? Because Hayes, like he said earlier, every week he's selling cocaine out of his trunk and he's dropping bodies. So, and usually he'll throw in some unwoke something that is probably offensive to 4% of the population.
Great. Now I know exactly what to rap about. Just play the stupid beat.
Remember, this is episode 125 of the Still Drippin' Happy Hour. We thank you for listening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Go follow the cards one, right, Hayes? Cookies on the bottom shelf.
Cookies. Just play the freaking beat and just shut up.
Thank you, Cole, for being on here.
Yes.
And here comes the beat, Hayes. I don't know which one to do.
Roulette.
Italy.
No, that's terrible.
Oh, gosh.
Just let it go.
Just remix it.
Hayes made all these beats.
Riding on a taco through space. I got Agent Paco on my waist. No homo. We're just playing around. We're just homies. I like going to the beach. I'm looking at seashells. I'm gathering up. I see a whale. He swallows my kayak. I'm shooting him out of my trunk. It's a drive-by. I killed 8,000 people. I got cocaine in my back pocket. I got so much cocaine, I got it and I lock it. You got a part, I got a part. You put it together, it's a heart of cocaine. I've got that propane. Fire. I blow it up. I'm blowing up like a Ferragamo, Ramo Shamo. I got Gamo. Eat the Pio. I got Pio. I got like apple pie. I stick my thumb in it. I pull out a plum and I'm dumb. I'm getting stupid dumb. New Balance, balance. I'm Jack Harlow, and now I'm balanced.
Ooh, hey, still dripping.
That wasn't even one of the dumb ones. That was decent.
He was closing his eyes.
That
Like
was
he
so
really
decent.
locked
That wasn't
in.
decent.
We'll see you next week. Peace.
I'm locked in like a